Hello students, this is Mrs. Mulligan and today we're going to talk about self-confidence. Self-acceptance and self-esteem are at the core of losing weight. I never really understood that until I discovered that I had a sugar addiction. In addition of self-messages, which most of the times are done by our critic mind, and are self-destructive, especially in women more than men, we project a negative perception of our emotions on things, and of course on our own persona. Let's face it, if we are just too damn hard on ourselves and other women, we need to stop this. I struggle with this constantly, especially if this value is tied with a religious upbringing. Some cultures more than others emphasize guilt to punish or control your true self. Now let's talk about our mind power and perception. There are two different people talking to you inside your head. One is called the head coach, and then when you're having a thought, the other one is the inner critic. The first one empowers you to make good choices, with tough love sometimes. The latter one is the voice in your head that creates distortion from false and limited perspective of our reality. For all of us, the second one is the most powerful and tries to control everything you do 95% of the time. What a bummer. Let me give you an example. As of the writing of this book, I had just came back from 2 hours at the gym doing hardcore intensive training. My brain, of course, after all this training thought, I am hungry. I will go to the breakfast at the village inn. The waitress at the village inn offered me some strawberry pie. She said to me that I deserved it, and that it was okay to cheat on my diet, with a smile. To what I said, no it's not, without being rude or obnoxious to her, of course. Immediately the waitress looked at me, terrified, and her smile faded. But I replied, I'm not upset with you or try to be mean, but I just pay a lot of money to be in this weight loss program, and it is very hard for me to keep from eating sugar and to lose weight. I have to say no to sugar because it is addictive for me. Then she said, well, take it with you anyways. It is Wednesday and it's free pie day today. I said, no thank you, it's okay. I'd rather not to take it with me as I know I won't eat it. At which point, she dropped the white container with the strawberry pie, yeah, you guessed it, next to the cashier to give it to me when I went there to pay the check. I was surprised that someone will try to go to those lengths to get their way even after I told them several times and reasons why I couldn't have pie, and that it would be harmful to me. Just remember, our culture will emphasize certain things and will not support your new lifestyle because 90% of the population it is obese or overweight. I thought how interesting it was that she decided to go against my wishes more than 3 times. If you think about it, it is our culture that pushes us to be fat blobs. Now going back to our mind and the different parts of the mind, the inner critic, remember, offers you choices to give us the illusion that we are in control, that we are the ones choosing, when in reality, it just wants to run programs in our head continuously, to no end, just like a computer stuck in a familiar loop. These programs are the result of our upbringing and normally are pretty set up by the age of 7. Why 7 years old, you ask? Well, early psychologists found out that by the age of 6 or 7 is when we start developing our critical mind, and it is also when we begin to close our creative mind. The creative mind is the one that we really need to raise our positive vibrations in the world and higher consciousness and awareness. Before you were 7, you saw experiences and things as either positive and negative. I'm pretty sure you still do now. And with repetition, you kept this weighting system, which later turned out to be your values and beliefs, or what we call our value systems. So do this for me. If you have a 6 or 7-year-old child, tell them the following. Will you help mommy or daddy to lose weight? Can you help me and tell me every time I am trying to cheat with sugar or candy, wherever you want to avoid, so I get healthier? Normally, the 6 or 7-year-old child, just like my son for example, will ask immediately, why are you doing this? Is this going to help you? Why do you need to do this? As you can see, children see this as a necessity. This is what I told my son, and of course, you can tell them with your children whatever you want, and obviously I'm just giving you this as an example of how to have a sounding board. My son tell me, Mom, if you eat sugar more than you're supposed to, are you gonna have health problems? Yes, I told him, I will. Sometimes I don't want to eat sugar, but I have to. My brain is telling me not to, and it's difficult for me to stop. So he says, I don't want you to get sick. I want you to help you so you can live longer and be longer in my life. Using kids as your sounding board is sometimes helpful. Children tell things how they are and know how they seem to you or others. Jargon children are much closer to the Creator than we are, and therefore they have a more sacred relationship with what we call their temple, and how clean their temple has to be. Grown-ups are the ones that pollute the environment and thinking with processed foods. Trust me, your child will call you out every time you try to eat something with sugar if you tell them that you couldn't eat it. Which is great, because it also allows you to wake up and lose weight faster when you fall short of your own grace. Now, a big tip is to use neurolinguistic programming. Let's talk about NLP. NLP is a technique used in many behavioral programs, sometimes by cognitive behaviorists or psychologists, and by therapists, speakers, trainers, and educators. NLP challenges the programming, that is, an internal programming, and also helps reassess and tell the subconscious or mind how to think appropriate positive thoughts and destroy negative cycles. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, using NLP might create discomfort. You might feel like you're out of the box. The funny thing is that prayer and affirmations are also NLP messages in their own right. Messages that get repeated over and over, and that sometimes might become actions or habits. Challenging some of these values that you already have programmed since you were 7 years old might feel uncomfortable and create a discomfort, like you're not in your element anymore. Because, of course, our subconscious, or what is called the lizard brain, is trying to survive and wants to stay in control. As it's always been, remember that that part of the brain controls more than 95% of what you want to do. The old adage, change is painful, becomes so true when it comes down to habits and losing weight. That's why losing weight is one of the hardest addictions to break. And yes, I said addictions. When we unconsciously choose to worry about the yesterday or the future, our mind keeps us busy doing nothing more than imagining old scenarios or imagine possible scenarios in the future. In layman terms, we keep running past of future scenarios and possibilities that create destructive habits now without living the present. Since most of these thoughts are negative or destructive, we produce, in turn, destructive or negative behaviors, acts, routines, and finally habits, without enjoying the present or the now. We continue to inhabit what is most comfortable to us, normally either the past or the future or both, wherever that might be for you. We become stuck in the past or sometimes obsessing about the future. So how do we get out of this cycle? How do we stop sabotaging ourselves? How do we stop these negative movies from draining our emotions and affecting our present and future? Our self-messages that had been established as early programs that run in our brain or head. I mean, after all, you are what I call a digital you. But who knew that you can actually teach an old computer new tricks, right? Freud said that when you're arguing with your spouse, there is other 4 people in the room besides you and your significant other. Your parents and his or her parents. It couldn't be more true. Unfortunately, our self-messages are rooted and reinforced by parents, friends, mentors, significant others, and did I say friends? Yes, double that. Friends are at times can be the worst. Also, of course, other authority figures which they themselves follow a fallacious programming inherited generation through generation through what I call the system. When someone tries to rebel or see something different, you can see that society tries to fend them off as crazy, weird, unusual, or unruly. This brings to mind how many children are now in unnecessary medication regimes and labeled as difficult and unruly, suffering from ADHD and ADD, while all this time we know that these children are probably indigo children or creative individuals that are silenced by the rules of the system and those in charge. What a humongous waste of talent and creativity and enlightened experiences we are missing because of fear. Don't you think? Now, are you aware how you see yourself? In the next part, we're going to talk about self-perception. You might find out things about yourself that you don't know, or that you don't really want to keep in the surface. I'll see you soon. We're going to find out a lot more about you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next module.